Hello and welcome back to a new video. Today I will talk about Joseph Stalin, the most brutal and controversial leaders of the 20th century. Stalin was born in Georgia in 1878 and grew up in poverty. His father was an abusive alcoholic, and his mother was a washerwoman. Stalin was a bright student and received a scholarship to attend a seminary, but he was expelled for his revolutionary activities. Stalin became involved in revolutionary politics in the early 1900s and joined the Bolshevik Party, which was led by Vladimir Lenin. He played a key role in the Bolshevik seizure of power in 1917 and became the People's Commissar for Nationalities in Lenin's government. After Lenin's death in 1924, Stalin emerged as the leader of the Soviet Union. He became the General Secretary of the Communist Party in 1922 and used his position to consolidate his power and eliminate his rivals within the party. He was a shrewd politician and a master of propaganda, and he used his control of the media to promote his cult of personality. In the 1930s, Stalin implemented a series of brutal policies aimed at modernizing the Soviet Union and transforming it into an industrial and military power. These policies included the forced collectivization of agriculture, which led to the deaths of millions of peasants, and the purging of the party and the military, which resulted in the execution or imprisonment of hundreds of thousands of people. Stalin's leadership played a key role in the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. However, his regime was also marked by widespread repression and terror. After the war, Stalin tightened his grip on power and launched a new wave of purges and repression aimed at maintaining his control over the Soviet Union. Stalin died in 1953, and his successor, Nikita Khrushchev, initiated a process of de-Stalinization aimed at reversing many of Stalin's policies and rehabilitating his victims. However, the legacy of Stalin continued to shape Soviet politics and society for decades to come. One of the most significant aspects of Stalin's legacy was his impact on the Soviet economy. Stalin's policies of industrialization and collectivization transformed the Soviet Union from an agricultural backwater into a modern industrial power. However, these policies also had significant costs, both in terms of human lives and economic inefficiencies. Another aspect of Stalin's legacy was his impact on the Soviet political system. Stalin created a one-party state, with the Communist Party exercising total control over all aspects of life. This system was marked by repression and terror, with dissenters and political opponents targeted for imprisonment or execution. Stalin's impact on the Soviet Union also had a significant impact on the world. The Soviet Union under Stalin played a key role in the Cold War and was a major player in global politics for decades. Stalin's policies and actions also had significant impacts on other countries, including China and North Korea. In conclusion, Joseph Stalin was one of the most significant and controversial figures of the 20th century. His impact on the Soviet Union and the world was profound, and his legacy continues to be debated and analyzed to this day. Here are some additional facts and information about Joseph Stalin. Stalin's real name was Iosif Vissarionovich Zergashvili. He later adopted the name Stalin, which means man of steel. Stalin was a master of propaganda and used it to build his cult of personality. He commissioned artists to create portraits and sculptures of him, and his image was used in posters, films, and other media. Stalin's purges and repression were not limited to the party and military. They also extended to other groups, such as intellectuals, artists, and writers. Many of these individuals were imprisoned or executed for their alleged anti-Soviet activities. Stalin's policies of industrialization and collectivization had significant human costs. Millions of people died as a result of famine, forced labor, and other forms of repression. Some estimates put the total number of deaths during Stalin's reign at over 20 million. Stalin was also responsible for the annexation of several territories, including parts of Poland, Finland, and Romania. He also played a key role in the division of Germany after World War II. Despite his brutality and repression, Stalin was widely admired by many in the Soviet Union. He was seen as a strong leader who had transformed the country into a world power. Stalin's death in 1953 led to a power struggle within the Soviet leadership. His successor, Nikita Khrushchev, eventually emerged as the leader and initiated a process of de-Stalinization. Stalin's legacy continues to be debated and analyzed to this day. Some see him as a brutal dictator who was responsible for the deaths of millions of people. Others see him as a strong leader who transformed the Soviet Union into a world power.